Granada weather sponsored by First Choice Holidays for a brighter outlook.
Showers, some heavy and possibly thundery in places, will continue into the evening and overnight. It will also turn quite misty in places by morning. Minimum temperature 13 centigrade. Tomorrow morning will start dull and cloudy with further spells of rain and with widespread fog over the hills. Towards midday it should begin to brighten up from the north and west. Most places will become dry during the afternoon with increasing amounts of sunshine, particularly on the coast. Top temperature 18 centigrade, 64 Fahrenheit, in a light northwesterly breeze.
It's the postmodern panel show about things that really matter.
That's Terry Wogan, that's his wig row.
It's got Fred Macaulay and Helen Ledra.
Oh, they're terrific.
And Sean Locke and Kevin Day.
Drinking, lads, will you? I'm parched.
Obviously carrot juice, isn't it? Gallons of the stuff.
It doesn't so much surf the zeitgeist
I tell you, I was chatting to his son the other day, Arthur Darley.
as skips over it.
Keeps trying to turn the clock back, but he can't, it's wobbly.
Like a bouncing bomb. Icons tonight at 10:40.
Stay with us for a roundup of today's news events here in the northwest. Granada Tonight.
If you're not registered to vote, you can't have a say. Your council will send you a form.
Hello, Stan here. To find out more about Stannah stair lifts, phone free on 0800 715414.
When your thoughts turn to stairs, turn to Stannah.
Tutus are,
Tutus are for. Everybody knows this. Okay, that's the finish of it. Go away.
You could win £10,000 delivered to your door in Walkers & Quavers Instant Win. Just look for the blue bag with the free phone number and find out what you've won. Of the thousands of cash prizes, but watch out for the nice guy.
You were going to do something tomorrow night, but you can't remember.
You cook naked?
Yeah, toast, oatmeal, nothing that spatters.
What you need is a sign.
Next, Barbara.
All right, Miss Green, everything looks fine.
Any kind of sign.
Ring, damn it, ring! Hello? Hello?
watch phones at 9:30.
Fridays are funniest on 4. Seriously.
This Monday, it's Bruce.
You didn't see our first show, they cleaned it out.
He's back with more big prizes.
I've been shopping all the week to refill the warehouse. Go for it, go! Okay, go on, away you go. You get a win. Emma's splashing it away. There you go! We're going to the pub.
Join the fun with Bruce's Price is Right. Monday at 8 on Granada.
On this Thursday evening, we join Lucy Meacock and Bob Greaves now for Granada Tonight.
Tonight, the insurance claims that are going through the roof as subsidence hits houses in the region.
Making a beeline to the Isle of Man, the lip-smacking success story with a real sting in the tail.
And lights, camera, action as the Japanese waltz over to the Fylde coast to film a blockbuster about ballroom dancing. That's Granada Tonight.
They're already under fire for putting shareholders before customers. Now they could be merging into one company worth £4 billion.
Yes, the Manchester-based electricity company Norweb has confirmed it's talking to North West Water about a possible merger. It would become the first company in Britain with a monopoly to supply power and water. Unions say it could mean hundreds of job losses. Consumer groups say customers could be held to ransom. Andy Gill reports.
Norweb supply electricity to most of the northwest except Merseyside and North Wales. North West Water supply consumers across the region. The prospect of customers relying on one firm for two vital utilities has alarmed consumer watchdogs.
My biggest concern is that you would have two major utilities owned by one organisation. You also have a possibility that if it's allowed for two to own one company to own two utilities, why can't gas come in as well? In which case, the whole of the North West could be held almost to ransom.
Today, Norweb said during the last few days the board have been approached by a number of parties, including North West Water, each of whom has expressed an interest in making an offer for Norweb. These discussions are continuing. Trade unions say a merger would mean massive job losses. One worker could read 2 meters, fewer people would be needed to send out the bills. The unions say fewer workers would mean the customers would suffer.
Very few sort of leaks, from our perspective, get repaired at the moment. If we're going to end up with a situation where we have one person doing both, we can only see it deteriorating again.
North West Labour MPs say it'd create a privatisation monster.
I don't believe it does give the consumers a better deal, and I believe on that basis it should be stopped.
Experts say from a business point of view, a merger would make a lot of sense. A large company generating huge amounts of cash could be aggressive in the marketplace and is less likely to be taken over itself. In America, customers are used to public utilities being provided by large private companies, but it's still something we're getting used to here. And the merger of two such important monopolies is unlikely to make the process any easier.
I think they're going to be a little concerned and probably even a little resentful. I mean, these have moved from really being local or regional to public services to becoming privatised utilities, to becoming now national, multinational companies over which they have no real control and no real say over the level and type of services they're going to get from them.
Tonight, Norweb workers in Manchester spoke of their concerns.
People are fearing for the jobs. You know, they're worried that they're going to lose the jobs.
North West Water have said nothing about a possible merger. Norweb say a further announcement will be made as soon as possible.
Now, if you've had that sinking feeling recently, it could all be down to the weather. The long, hot, dry spell has caused major subsidence problems throughout the country. In the northwest, claims for property damage have almost gone through the roof, so to speak. They've more than doubled in recent weeks, and householders are now being advised to check their properties to avoid further serious problems in the future, as Trevor Green reports.
Glenn Lockett and his wife bought this end terrace house in Reddish 12 years ago. Now it's beginning to split apart and the long, hot, dry spell is blamed. Fortunately for him, he runs a business specialising in structural repair, but he didn't bargain on having to repair his own 20-year-old house because of subsidence.
We just noticed the problem now, which appears to be some of the cracking that you've seen underneath the window, a displacement in the bottom corner where the property is actually moved across its damp-proof course. And also we have some problems at the front where a main beam is actually moved across.
Structural engineers say properties built in the 1930s on clay and with shallow footings are likely to be most susceptible to subsidence, and if they have tree-filled gardens, that too is likely to put them at risk of movement in the event of long dry spells. The Subsidence Claims Advisory Bureau say they've been inundated with inquiries and reports of subsidence are up 100%. Brian Clancy is chairman of a task group of engineers which produced this report looking at the consequences of subsidence.
What they do is, in my view, they should notify their insurance company that they have seen cracks. Not all cracks are subsidence. Not all cracks will actually have occurred this year. Because of the media attention, quite rightly, they will be looking at their properties to see if they've got cracks. In many instances, the cracks will have been there for some time. In most instances, they will be new cracks. But they should inform their insurance company just the same way as they would inform their insurance company if they had a prang in their car.
Insurance companies fear a wave of claims due to the weather and say people should check their property to avoid long-term problems. Last year, insurance firms spent £125 million on subsidence damage. That's expected to rise this year. But the message is not to panic and don't expect this to happen to you.
What a dreadful thought. Trevor Green with that report. On to another domestic problem now, and it's a growing one for the Bishop of Manchester on his own doorstep, well, at the bottom of his garden to be exact. See, the church has leased part of the bishop's garden to a man who uses it as a garden nursery business, but the clergy now wants to turn the site into luxury housing. It's led to an unholy row and claims that the church is being less than Christian where business is concerned. Jessica Naden went to see what all the fuss is about.
This is the Bishop of Manchester's back garden, and this is the plot of land which Roger Turner leased from the Church of England 8 years ago and turned into a nursery. It's become a popular attraction for the elderly, disabled and local school children in Salford to visit. But the Church of England says they want to build luxury homes on part of the Bishop's garden and the leased land. Mr. Turner is devastated.
I stand to lose everything. I stand to lose my house. I stand to lose my business. How you can sell one man down the river to build a wall round a bishop and his wife, then I'm sorry, I don't want to be part of that church. I really don't.
He's digging his heels in and has mounted a campaign, including a petition and letters from the community backing his cause. He claims he's always been led to believe the lease, for which he pays £600 a year, would be renewed.
The church says these grounds of the bishop's residence behind me are both too large and too expensive to maintain. If they sold off part of his garden, which includes this nursery site run by Mr. Turner, and built 4 luxury detached houses on it, then the money raised would pay to maintain the rest of the grounds.
In a statement today, they added, "We are sorry the proposals are inevitably disappointing for Mr. Turner. However, the commissioners have a duty to make the best use of all the church's historic resources for the benefit of today's church."
If this is the way that they now wish to run the Church of England, I should think that they should drop the name church and put it to Business of England.
At this stage, the church is only seeking outline planning permission, they say, to test local opinion of the proposal. In the meantime, Mr. Turner has to wait and see whether his home and livelihood are threatened when the lease comes up for renewal next spring.
I'm sure we'll let you know what happens there. Now, there's concern tonight for the future of a special school for sick children in Lancashire. It's based at the Royal Preston Hospital's Children's Ward and makes sure that young patients don't fall behind with their education. But there are fears that it could be the latest victim of widespread education cuts in the county. Patrick Snell now reports.
Staff here are in no doubt. The time sick and injured youngsters spend keeping up with their education is vital. But a County Council education budget review has meant less funds across the board and the inevitable worries and fears.
There are 2 classrooms here at the hospital looking after youngsters from 4 to about 16. What's concerning staff here is that already as a result of the cuts they're facing the loss of 1 non-teaching assistant, leaving just 2 full-time teachers to cater for all the needs of the children. In some cases that will include neurological and psychological assessments.
If we can't continue to assess the children thoroughly, we can't give the information to education and mainstream school, which we have been able to do over the last few years by building up a good assessment service in the hospital.
A further fear for staff is that the hospital treats some of the worst cases of child injuries in the region, meaning longer hospital stays.
We are very, very concerned because we are a Lancashire hospital, we are a regional hospital. We don't just cater for children in Preston and Chorley, but we cater for children throughout the area, throughout Lancashire, and therefore we want to retain it. We want the County Council to recognise how different we are, how special we are for those sick children who require special treatment.
As part of Lancashire County Council's review and in line with government recommendations, home and hospital tuition services are being combined.
Children in hospital themselves will still get a good quality service. They're not necessarily delivered by the hospital teachers. It will be delivered by, sometimes by home tutors going into hospital to deliver the service, and that's where I think the health authority are confused. They do not seem to understand that there will be other teachers going into the hospital to teach children.
But for the time being at least, classes continue as normal at the start of another term.
Patrick Snell reporting, and still to come on Granada Tonight.
Making a beeline to the Isle of Man, why this man's honey-producing hobby is a great British success story.
And making movies on the Fylde Coast, the latest film in Blackpool is full of Far Eastern promise.
Before all that, it's time to join Andrew in Liverpool for the rest of today's news stories. Andrew.
Thank you, Bob. Yes, first here in Liverpool, an inquest jury has returned a verdict of suicide on a man who fell from a tower block after being arrested by police. Kevin Byrne was wearing police handcuffs when he fell 90 feet from an 8-storey window in August last year. He'd been arrested for possession of heroin as police searched his friend's flat at Regal Towers in Croxteth for drugs. A small Lancashire town joined the big boys in the fight against crime today. Following the success of spy cameras in the large cities, Clitheroe is the latest town centre to get closed-circuit television, or CCTV. Home Secretary Michael Howard switched on the system. It'll help protect 160 premises in the centre of Clitheroe.
I think there's an assumption that CCTV systems are associated with big town centres, with sort of urban policing, but there's actually a very real need for these systems in towns such as Clitheroe.
Now, there could be good news on the way for travellers on Manchester's Metrolink. Neil Kinnock, now the European Commissioner of Transport, has been in the city hearing plans for expanding the network, and he's impressed. Mr Kinnock said Metrolink had a strong case for getting £10 million in European grants. It would help pay for an extension to Eccles and Salford Quays. The project would help create more than 2,000 jobs. The owners of a historic house in the centre of Stockport are tonight counting the cost of a huge fire there. 5 fire engines were needed to deal with the blaze at Staircase House in Market Place last night. The building dates back to the 15th century, and Stockport Council had been considering plans to turn it into a museum. Structural engineers are now checking to see whether it's safe to go inside. It's not known how the fire started. Well, now it's back to Lucy and news of more big spending in the soccer world.
Yes, Andrew, it became one of the most talked about transfer sagas of the year. Finally today it was resolved. Bolton Wanderers picked up a cheque for £4.5 million for midfielder Jason McAteer. At the same time, he fulfilled a boyhood ambition by joining Liverpool, the team he'd supported in his youth. Mark Owen was at Anfield.
If you're a big-time soccer boss with the backing to match, then this is possibly the player you've been thinking about for the past year. In the end, though, it came down to a straight scrap between Liverpool and Blackburn Rovers for the talented Jason McAteer. Rovers are said to have offered more money. They also have Kenny Dalglish as director of football. He was McAteer's schoolboy idol. So what clinched it in the end for Liverpool?
I used to come and watch him. Kenny was my favourite player and that, and obviously with him being at Blackburn was a big thing for me when I was talking to them. But it was obviously a tough decision at the end of the day. But it was totally down to football. I've been a lifelong Liverpool supporter, just to have a little bit of an advantage. But it did take some time to come to my decision. But like I say, it was purely a footballing one at the end of the day.
McAteer was born in Birkenhead, but his growing reputation made Jack Charlton check out his roots. This led to a call-up for the Ireland team, and in the 1994 World Cup, Jason became the first Bolton player in the finals since 1958. But the story began at College Road, home of non-league Marine. The deal that took him from there to Bolton was £500 plus a friendly match 4 years ago. Today, Jason McAteer got hold of the one that got away last year. He was in Bolton's side, of course, beaten at Wembley last season in the Coca-Cola Cup final by Liverpool. This signing brings Roy Evans's total spending since he took charge 18 months ago to over £20 million. And now for the manager, the happy problem of where to play the new signing.
I think when we're not playing our back three, Rick, and we're not playing our front three, I might play a midfield six. There's no guarantee of him being straight in the first team. All I did say to him is that I've been prepared to back his ability to go out and spend the amount of money. I'm sure he's got the confidence to back his ability to get in the team.
It's a tough business, football, isn't it? They pay £4.5 million for you, then they can't guarantee you a game. He can come and play for our side anytime he likes. Now, it's official. The long, hot summer is over. So now's the time for all good gardeners to come out of the shade. After a couple of quiet weeks, our horticultural heavyweight, that's Big Jeff Turner, is out and about on border patrol once again. He's been to meet Vicky Standeven at her garden in Cheshire to show her what to do with all those plants that are beginning to look, well, past their best.
On top of the world today, Cobstall in Cheshire, to meet Vicky Standeven. Check out what we need to do in the garden this time of year. But in the meantime, look at that for a view. This is absolutely beautiful. What a wonderful spot you've got. There's a lot of work to do this time of year.
This is very true, Jeff.
This is the busy time, because like springtime, you've got all this clearing out, but the borders are fabulous.
Well, the only thing is, I mean, they haven't been very good because it's been so dry, and now they've gone berserk. So, I mean, I haven't done anything for a while, and now I've just got to get through it all and hack it all down, really.
Well, it's been a lovely year for dahlias, isn't it, with all this hot weather?
It has, and in fact, I split those last year, but they've just gone absolutely berserk.
It's like everything else. I mean, look at these crocosmia. This is a case in point. If you, what's happening is, you're getting 1 or 2 flowers and piles of green.
Yeah.
And it's all because they're absolutely choked to death. They can't flower anymore. They can't actually do it. What you need to do is split them up into smallish clumps like that. Dig it in, bit of decent compost, a bit of feed. Put those in, and what you'll end up with next year is loads of flower and not a lot of green.
And don't cut them down first. Split them up now and then put them in.
Split them up now,
Right,
yeah.
and
Gives you
let
a bit
them
more
go.
leverage and you can actually
Right.
see where they are.
Oh, very good. Well, this is dead now, so what I'd do would be normally cut that right back.
Yeah, that's not what you do with Marguerite or Shasta daisies. The foliage is still growing, you see, still feeding the crown.
Right.
All you need to do is just deadhead it. Just pull the heads off, like that. Chuck them in the compost. Then what you've got to do is get in here, a bit of fish blood and bone, give it a good feed in there. That crown will feed for another month, and then next year it's ready to go woof. Well, there's a bit of work in this border. Now this phlox is a case in point, unlike the Shasta daisies. What you need to do is they're dying from the bottom up. What you need to do is get in there and prune all of these back. All they're going to do is get battered by the wind. Prune them right back like that. And what you'll find is that'll be lovely for next year. Straight on the compost with these. You've got honesty in your garden. It's the time of year when the seeds are coming right and ready to drop. They come in these little envelopes and the seeds are inside. You end up with some nice seeds. They're real difficult to plant. So you have to do. It's not a time to think about Christmas, but if you like vegetables, over the next couple of weeks I'm going to show you how you can grow them and harvest them for your Christmas dinner. That's right. Join me on Border Patrol next week and find out how to cheat the winter and grow your own fresh veg for the festive season.
There you go, all your gardening problems solved, Bob.
Nearly all. I must ask Big Jeff why my runner beans... I've never grown runner beans, but I've grown them this year from seed. My runner bean plants are about 8 feet high and 12 feet long, and I've got 4 or 5 runner beans.
Oh,
not
that's
with
a
enough
shame.
rain, I
So
think.
we're not going to get any brought into the office for us?
No.
Thanks, Bob. Well, they say everyone has a fear of something. I'm not too happy about gardening, but a lot of people say lizards, snakes frighten them, enclosed spaces. Trevor Ward, perhaps. Bob tells me he can't stand rats, and our reporter, Tim Wyatt...
Worked with a few in my time.
I can vouch for that, Bob. On the other hand, though, Tim Wyatt has a morbid fear of insects, so being the callous and cruel people that we are, we dispatched him to the Isle of Man again to investigate a very special business. It's all to do with this stuff, honey. Here's Tim's report.
Now, as everybody knows, there are 2 types of people in life, those who've got hobbies and those who don't. Amongst the people who do, there are those who prefer benign pastimes like bowls, dressmaking or stamp collecting. On the other hand, some people prefer to live life a little more dangerously. Manxman Harry Owens is a man with a mission: to keep the millions of bees on the Isle of Man free from killer diseases which have swept through hives around the world. Talk to him and you rapidly realise there's absolutely nothing this retired power engineer doesn't know about these creatures.
These hives, between them, had 145 pounds of honey gathered from them. To make a job is about 150,000 trips, I think. It's a tremendous amount of work in it. A bee travels 272 miles in its lifetime. It lives in the middle of the summer 42 days about. It works itself to death.
To indulge yourself in this hazardous hobby, you have to dress up like something from a low-budget 1950s sci-fi movie and take other precautions.
So I've got my smoker. That's vital. You don't go into bees without a smoker, and it's good because bees don't like being messed about. And the best way to do bare-handed beekeeping is with a little bit of vinegar. So I'm spraying my hands with vinegar and water. My hands will be like a chip. By selection, I've got a bee that's not too aggressive. Some bees you can't look sideways at, they'll sting like blazes, but one thing, if a person does react to a bee sting, they've got to go and get medical treatment without fail. So now, using the hive tool, I take the top of this cover off, which is called a crown board, and I'll take it off and we look in. This is a honey production area. There's a comb. See the white? That's all new wax they've produced. And that's full of nectar. And these are all workers. You get some with a little bit of yellow on them, but mostly ours are black bees. Right, we'll see if we can find the queen now. There she is. Yeah. Nice ginger banded queen. Number 1.
As the Isle of Man's chief beekeeper, Harry Owen's top priority is to ensure the island's bee population remains free of diseases such as the destructive varroa mite, which has decimated colonies elsewhere, Britain included. He also advises other bee enthusiasts.
State of it's pretty grim, this. It's going to take some getting out that, but these guys are a bit aggressive. It took me by surprise. Have a little bit of honey for you. Excellent. For breakfast.
Or as an alternative to mortal combat with insects, you can opt for toast and jam while browsing through your album of British first day covers.
Now, talking of the Isle of Man, last night we mentioned a feature film, The Brill Cream Boys, now being shot there. Well, it's not the only place in the region where movie magic is being created, because one of Japan's most famous directors is in Blackpool, filming a romantic comedy centred around ballroom dancing. Paul Crone, who once thought a Swiss roll was a part in an Alpine epic, popped in.
No, you're not watching a heat from the next round of Come Dancing, but a Japanese film about romance in the world of coiffured hair, fake tans and over-enthusiastic makeup. The audience at Blackpool's Winter Gardens aren't ballroom dancing fanatics, but film extras. The dancers, well, they're certainly the real thing. Around 20 of Britain's top quick-steppers hired for the film entitled Shall We Dance, which translated into Japanese is, strangely enough, Shall We Dance? The Japanese are enthralled by our love of this particular pastime, and several scenes are being shot in Blackpool for the romantic comedy, which goes on release in Japan later this year.
Came to Blackpool because the most famous dance competition in the world is held here. And that's the first reason. The second reason is because you have such a wonderful ballroom here. It's probably one of the finest in the world.
Ready. There's a full-time interpreter on hand to make sure filming goes smoothly, and catering facilities to feed both cast and crew. The word is the Japanese love chips. Yes, the movie business is right up my street.
Can I have some dinner, please?
Are you one of the staff?
I certainly am.
No, you're not. Clear off.
It's unlikely any of us will get to see Shall We Dance down at our local multiplex, but the director reckons it's going to be a big hit, so it was only fair I should ask him if there was any chance of a modest role in his movie. I took that as a yes. Yes, next step, Hollywood. Wonder if my check's in the post.
I think you meant no, Paul. On to the weather, and now the long, hot summer is just a distant memory. We thought it might be a good idea to cheer ourselves up a bit. So Fred's been off to a flower festival at Brinnington in Stockport. Here he is.
There's something wonderful, beautiful, magical in flowers. And here at St Luke's in Brinnington near Stockport, they've got a wonderful flower festival on. Now with me is the Reverend Sandra Woodhead. Why did you have this flower festival?
We needed to raise some money for a new organ.
Is this the first one you've ever tried?
Yes.
Now, have you got experts in flower arrangement around here? Because they look superb.
No, no.
Complete amateurs.
All amateurs, yes.
So what's the theme?
The theme is the church and the community working together in partnership.
What benefit has it been to the local community?
Well, we've engaged all people in the community. All were welcome to come in and share in this flower festival, not just churchgoers.
And when does it run till?
It runs till Sunday evening.
But it's open now, isn't it?
Oh,
open
yes.
tonight, open tonight.
Yes. Indeed.
I think the whole community around here deserves an award because it's a lovely flower festival. Very simple, but
rather wonderful. So's the weather, so I will say, and what have we got for tonight? Well, heavy showers, some of them thundery, temperatures dropping to a mild 13 Celsius, 55 Fahrenheit, and for tomorrow, sunshine and a few more heavy showers, and again, chance of some thunder, but quite warm, temperature reaching 18 Celsius, 64 Fahrenheit. And tonight's wonderful picture was sent in by 6-year-old Rebecca Timperley, who goes to Westgate County Primary School, which is in Morecambe. So from everyone here at St Luke's in Brinnington, have a very pleasant evening. Bye-bye.
It's lovely, and that's it. Tomorrow, though, sees the return of that brand of humour peculiar to Trevor Ward and his leisure guide, Something for the Weekend.
So if you want to know what's cooking in the region, he's your man. The man Elton's here with the roundup of the soccer scene. He's been trying to do that Colombian goalkeeper's scorpion back kick all day. No chance. Hit his wallet 3 times.
So don't miss that. Until then, have a great evening. Good night.
Scotland Yard, a new documentary series featuring the Thames Division, the oldest division in the world. Policing on and underwater.
Why have they pulled a knife on you?
Day and night.
What type of gun was it?
The success stories and the tragedies.
Hey, let's all stop shouting at each other.
Real-life drama in Scotland Yard, tonight at 9:30.
To the Dales, next on Granada for Emmerdale.